Hello, good morning everyone. Welcome to Redesign. I'm just gonna sit here and wait for a second until the feed starts rolling onto Facebook. All right, I hope this works. All right, I see people signing in. So I am Sharon. I am here with our ReDesign and other Prima molds. Now, I've been playing with them a lot, but today we're gonna take a total 180 and use them in a whole new way. So I hope we have moderators today. If you have questions, put them in the chat, and then hopefully Adrian and maybe Palm will be on, and if not, I will go in and answer afterwards. So let me just pop one of the molds that we're gonna be using. Hey, hello. When you guys sign in, let us know where you're watching. We would love, love, love to know that. We know everyone is kind of cooped up and looking for creative ideas, and all of our amazing teams have been doing that over time. Look in our Create with Prima Facebook group, and also on our ReDesign, you can check out new projects. If you go into the video section, you'll see the lives that we've been doing, and look for more throughout the rest of the week. All right, Adrian's here. Good, she can mod, and I'm gonna flip this around. Okay, so give me 1 second. I know when I'm holding it like this, it's all wiggly and squiggly, and we're gonna go down. All right, so I said we were gonna take our molds and turn them totally 180. So I picked out some molds here. Give you a little sneak peek. I have some pre-molded, and I'm gonna use a variety of products. So we are going to use fondant and candy melts, okay? And you can use a different variety. You could use multiple food products in these molds because they are food safe. I just want to show you some of the detail while I have the camera down low. So these are candy melts. You can go solid or you can mix your colors. Somebody really smart gave me that idea and I decided to try it. The other thing, when you're going multiple colors, it's so much easier. You don't have to clean your bowl and your, I use a squeeze jar. You don't have to clean it out. You just keep popping in more of these candy melts, and it marbles it for you. Now these are fondant, totally different type of product and a different end use, but look how beautiful the details are on these. Okay, so I have been creating and creating and creating over the weekend. And now I'm going to show you how I made these. So let me just lock my camera in here. Close your eyes if you get seasick, because it's just going to be wiggly for just a second. All right, how's that? Are we getting a focus? Sometimes it takes a second or two for that focus to really catch, and I can tell we're wiggling just a tiny bit. Sorry. It'll stop soon. Okay. All right, so what I'm gonna do is just jump right in because I heated up my candy melts. So candy melts, and yes, you can get these now even if you're stuck at home. A lot of places are letting you order them online and do curbside pickup, which is what I did. Michael's had them. You can get them other places as well. So I picked out Easter colors for the candy melts, and let me just tell you, I'll share tips and tricks that I found over the years using these. The Wilton ones seem to work better. They're not as brittle. Don't buy the off-brand because the results won't be as good. All right, that looks like a mess, but one of the tools that I love is this Wilton candy melt squeeze bottle. And I throw my melts in here. It is kind of ugly when you open it up because I've been using it. If you want to do a pure color, maybe get a couple of them because you'll be frustrated having to clean it out in between. Or you can do what I did. I started with turquoise, and when I used that up, I threw white and other melts in, and I now have a marble effect going. Can you see that? So this is hot and hopefully it's ready to go. I keep a cup and I just set it in there in between molds so that the tip is always full so you don't get as many air bubbles. So what I'm gonna do is take a mold. Which one should I start with? I should probably talk about the molds, but I'll do that as I'm filling them so my candy melts don't get too cold, because then they will not give you good results and they won't come out very easily. So hopefully I sent Adrian the SKUs for these. These are some of the ReDesign molds. I call them knob molds because they're made to go on knobs, but how cute are these to do little candies for birthday parties, cupcakes, everything. I do them in different colors for the holidays and put them out on the tables. Here's another one. This is more fleur-de-lis, seashell types. These squares are gorgeous. They're really, really cute. And then this is a larger one, larger fleur-de-lis. Now, I don't do the super, super big molds. I don't have a use for that with the hard candy. However, if you get into fondant, these larger molds will be gorgeous for decorating cakes or anything else you want to decorate. Hard candy, like the candy melts, might work in these. I tried it with the mermaid and it did crack. But if you know anything about candy melts, you can paint the cracked areas and kind of glue them back together, if that makes sense. It's like hot glue. But I would just use fondant in those really big ones and the candy melts in these smaller ones. So designs like the Eiffel Tower, can you do that with a candy melt? Let me find mine. Oh, and it's gonna show you a little sneak peek. Yes, you can do the Eiffel Tower. I did it with candy melts. Can you see that detail? It's not perfect, but you could easily cut off the stuff that went over. It's really thin, but how cute is that? And then you see this peacock. If we have time, I'm gonna do one, and that's out of fondant, which is much more stable. I have mermaids that I did as well, and let me show you the difference with those. I don't know if you can see. This is fondant, and that is candy melt. There's gonna be breakage where the weak points are. But like I said, you could take a paintbrush, melt some candy melt, and actually glue those back together. But why not do the simpler and do fondant? It's super easy. It comes out so much better, and there's no breakage. All right, so that was the mermaid and the peacock. And fondant is very flexible. It stays flexible for a long time, so you can work with it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and set out some molds and just start filling, and I'll share some tips. I'm wondering if I should have brought my base up higher, because this is kind of smaller detail work, isn't it? Well, let's do this. Let's, I have a cake plate, but I'd have to run away from the camera to go get it. I was thinking this surface would be good. Let's just stack some of these up right now, and we'll get a little bit closer. So let me start by filling this one. Can you see this okay? All right, so I have my candy melts melted, and you just follow the directions on the package. It's like 30 seconds, squeeze it, 30 seconds, squeeze, and maybe 30 more seconds. And I let it sit a little bit, maybe 30 more seconds, and make sure it's all molded together. Okay, I can feel it getting stiff. If it doesn't come out, I'll just pop it in the microwave, and we'll work on something else. That's usually the problem, is it needs to be heated up. Yeah, I can definitely feel there's like, it does open up. Now that's my problem. I prepared way too early for this, and it's cooling off already. Let me just see if I can fill this one. Yeah, there's air in there too. We'll just let it drip down. This is similar to hot glue in how it fills. It has that point, so you want to get that point in the detail areas. And then you're just going to fill it. Don't overfill. I find that works better. And if you really want the butterfly antennas, go ahead and run some up there. Now that looks messy. What I do is drop it on the counter a couple times. You can use your finger to wipe away any excess, and it helps to have like a scribe or a toothpick to bring that candy melt into the corners. Normally the butterflies fill really easily. I just need to heat my candy melts up just a little bit more. Squeeze that and see how it's coming out. All right, I see some yellow coming. Here we go. So I overfilled that one a bit, but I just want to show you. You can always wipe off with your finger around those edges. All right, I can tell it needs to be heated. See how that's already setting and it's not glossy? It's because the temperature of the candy melts just is cooling off. So it might have just been up in the tip, and see how that's glossier? That's how it's supposed to look. So just keep your candy melts nice and hot. And this container, you can just stick it in exactly like it is and reheat for like 20 seconds if you need to heat it up again. So I'm just gonna do a couple different shapes. I mean, the application is pretty much the same. You just melt it and squeeze it in here. And again, I try to get the tip up against that design edge. So if you need to flip your mold around to do that, go ahead and do that. The other thing I like about this squeeze bottle is that it is very squeezable. You do not have to, it's not hard. It's silicone itself. See the marbling coming out? All right, so I think you get the idea with actually melting it and getting it into the mold. You can use a spoon and a bowl for this if you don't have this squeeze bottle. I don't know if Adrian can link to it. They're like $9 or $10. If you have kids that want to do this, invest in one for each kid, and then they'll have so much fun. When they're tired of doing it, you can throw this in the fridge and then pop it back in the microwave with the lid on, and it melts it all over again. So I know kids can have a short attention span. That's why I love these meltable candy bottles by Wilton. All right, so let's set that aside. And you would just let this air dry then. You can put it in the fridge. And if you put it in the fridge, you might have, it will harden faster, but let it sit out on the counter then for about a minute, because the colder it is, the more brittle it can be. So if your temp in your place is really warm and they feel sticky, pop them in the fridge, okay? Let me just set these aside. And I poured these about an hour ago. They've just been sitting on my counter. You can touch them and they should be firm. You shouldn't have anything on your finger. And then what we're gonna do is just unmold them. Now there's two ways to unmold. With the smaller items, I like to hold it up like this and pop the edges. With larger items, I'll flip it over and bend the mold off. But with these, it's pretty simple. Just start bending and you can see it's gonna pop out. If you don't like fingerprints on them, you can wear plastic gloves. I just touched the edges and it's not a problem. All right, see how pretty these are? Yeah, these popped out really easy. Look at that detail. Now, if you have little bits on the edges, those do break off very easily. That one I didn't quite fill all the way. Oh, but it's so pretty. This was a round disc. And then I don't know what shape this was. Oh, it's a little leaf. Now these, I started with turquoise and then I threw in a little bit of white and then I added lavender, a little bit more white, and then I went to pink. Every time I heated up my bottle more and melted more melts as it got lower. So if I show you right here, the variety that I've been doing, you can kind of tell where I was mainly turquoise and then white, and then started adding in other colors. Now, tell me what you guys would use these for. There are starfish and flowers and fleur-de-lis, butterflies and crowns. That one's so cool. Hang on, I can't tell where my finger is. Right there, I love that one. Now you can do bigger molds, and I wanna show you one that did not work. Let me just move these off. So I was using the Midnight Garden mold and it was beautiful until I went to unmold it. I just didn't wait long enough. It was still a little bit wet down in those deeper grooves. The edges were popping out fine. It messed it up just a tiny bit. So make sure the deeper it is, the longer you let it air dry and sit on the counter, okay? If you're doing this with kids, you are gonna be helping them and stuff, you'll have plenty of time to let these air dry. Okay, any questions on the candy melts? You can buy them at any, so many different stores have them, of course. And then the molds that work best are these, I call these the knob molds, but I also used seashells. This is the surfboard mold. Let me see, I had the case for it. Adrian has the SKUs, I think. So you want to grab this. This is in our paper line, but we have little molds that work beautifully for different things in our paper line. And then this one is the Capri mold. And you'll see let me find some of these. That is that one. This is the flower, and then I showed you the Eiffel Tower already. Let me grab that. Aren't those cute? So that is the Capri mold by Frank Garcia, and that is a paper line, but look at the beautiful candies you can make with that. Okay, any other questions with the candy molds themselves and the melts? The melts look like this, and I suggest you buy the Wilton because they seem to have a little bit more oil in them, so they are not as brittle. And I have tried some of the off-brands. They're just not worth it because they break too much popping out of these molds. Okay, if you do have questions, I'm hoping Adrian can answer those. And then we're gonna move on to fondant, because I think I popped out all the molds I had already. Okay, anyone interested in fondant? All right, so you can get fondant everywhere as well as in grocery stores and big box stores, etc. So I just got this 4 multi-pack of pastels, and I've used a lot up already. But when I open them up, I get them out of the foil and put them into baggies that I can reseal right away. So for the fondant, this is like my huge showcase piece. That is the beautiful peacock with a feather. And I have the mermaid as well that I showed earlier. So let's pop and do some of these smaller ones first. Do you see these? This is something your kids could do. I mean, really, it's so easy. These will air dry, and then you can use them for candies or decoration. They're bendable too, so it depends. If you're making a cake or you want to just stick it on a cupcake, it's so cute like that. All right, which ones do we want? Let's use, hang on, which ones was I making? I actually use this mold a lot, but I have some of the candy melts in there. Where's my other flower mold? What do you guys want to see? Maybe I'll look at the comments. Were there any particular you wanted? Let's try a butterfly. How about that? Let me grab. I did 2 of the melts in the butterfly, but let me just show you how versatile this can be. See, if I keep stacking molds, I'll get higher and higher, and I'll be closer to the camera that way. Let's do that. At least a little bit higher. Okay. Let's get on camera too. You can see some over here. I'm just gonna pop the pink out, and fondant is like Play-Doh, and it's pretty soft. If it gets too soft, it can get sticky, and then you're gonna wanna have a little bit of powdered sugar or cornstarch. I use powdered sugar just because it's sweet, and add that to it. So I'm gonna do, let's just do a simple round one. Seriously, I'm not kidding. This is very difficult, guys. And then you literally pop it out. That was super easy. Your kids would have so much fun with this. All right, let's try a butterfly. You want to just pull out what you think you're going to use. Kind of roll it around. I know, I think I have way too much, but that's good. It'll show you what to do if you have way too much. You can just kind of pull some of that off like you do with our modeling material. It actually works in a very similar fashion. And then clean up those edges. Just use your finger. You cannot mess this up, because if you do, you can re-roll it. Fondant is very, very user-friendly. I'm gonna pop it out. Now, once it's out, you can use your fingernails or a stylus and just push in those extra little bits that you had. Look at how cute that is. Your kids would love this. Boys and girls, because look, did I show you the bugs that we have on this one? They're so cute. I did some candy melts. Let me find my bugs. Oh my gosh, where are they? I'll find them when I'm not looking for them. The butterflies, of course, with the candy melt are adorable. I feel the candy melt details will be better because it's a harder type of product, like resin. The candy melt dries very hard, and this will be more like a hot glue paper clay because it's softer and it air dries. Somewhere I have a bug that I did, but let's do another one since I can't find that one. And let's not do it in pink. I'm just gonna pick, oh gosh, maybe yellow. Let's do a yellow bug. All right, again, your fondant is similar to paper clay modeling material. Just make sure it's soft and ready to go. And we're gonna just pat this in. I can tell already I have way too much. Just scrape that off. It's gonna get sticky when you start scraping it, but that's okay. Then we're just gonna press this in and kind of clean up the edges. The bug has antenna, so you may not get all those details unless you push the fondant out a little bit extra. This one does look a bit messy to me. Let's see what it does. Yeah, I kind of lost the antenna. So make sure when you're using the fondant, you realize it does have some limitations. It's a bit more The antennas are really fine. Well, it saved part of it. Can you see that? How cute is that? So we have butterflies and bugs, and we have this round clock. Now what I'm gonna do is marble the fondant and make a larger piece. So I think I'm gonna do the peacock. Oh, are these ready to pop out? Look at that. These were our candy melts we did at the beginning. Yes, they are. There they are. I know, it's like magic, isn't it? Is that fun? Now, if you're using, remember I said these are food safe, so they're good to go, but if you're worried because you used it with paper clay or something, just give it a really, really good wash with soap and water. I try to keep duplicates, but sometimes I mix mine up, so make sure you wash them really well and that they're thoroughly dry. You don't want water getting in with the candy melts at all, or it will like seize it up. All right, let's find our peacock mold. All right, look how nice these stack. Isn't that beautiful? All right, for Mr. Peacock, we're gonna take 3 different colors. I might do different this time. I already did the blue, green, and yellow, and I don't have as much, so we're gonna throw pink in this time. How are we doing? Oh, was there a bumblebee? Did I miss that? Well, you need to get that mold because it has so many cool pieces on it. I love the one with the butterfly and the bugs. But I'll show you some more of those finished pieces and the molds again after I do Mr. Peacock. This is gonna be oh no, it is a boy, I forgot. It is what it is. They show off their feathers, don't they? All right. So when I do a mixed color for the fondant, I have a little bit left there. I'm just gonna roll out some cords. Just do some ropes. Get it nice and soft. While I'm doing this, tell me what else you guys could put in these molds. I have done soaps. I bought a soap kit and I did little mini soaps, which is really fun when you have guests over or kids in the bathtub and they want a fun little colored soap. I have done bath bombs. They're a bit messier, but they do hold their shape and they're really cute. Let me think. Anything that's pressable, like a cream cheese mint, works really well. Or anything you can pour in there that will harden. So a hard candy, just make sure it's under 500 degrees. And then all of those will work. You just then put the candy in. Oh, look how pretty that is. But I'm gonna kind of smush that and get it marbly. If you hear anything, it's my son who thinks he should have cereal for lunch. I can see you. Anyone else have kids at home? It's fun. We gotta find the silver linings. All right, kind of marbled. Mix it till you like how marbly it is, and then we're gonna press it into the mold. So let me make sure I'm on camera. And again, the head needs less, but we're gonna go over outside of the head area a little bit because I don't want it to break. So I'm just patting this down to the edge and taking the first bit off that's extra that I don't need. And then we're just gonna work on it, pushing up to where you see the defined edges. And fondant wants to come out of the mold when you're doing this, so just keep that in mind. I do have way too much I can see. I'm gonna pinch some of this off without trying to break the mold, break the piece. It's okay if it's thicker and pops up, you know, when you're doing resin, you don't want that. But with this, it doesn't matter as much because it can be a thicker piece. Yep, there's too much here. Now what we're doing is just pushing it in to the design of the mold, and then we can clean up with a knife and our fingers after we pop it out. So do your best to get it up to those edges, but don't really worry about it being perfect. All right, move in. This piece right here is also going to be a little fragile. Anything that's thinner and sticks out like that could break when you're popping it out. Oh my gosh, mine is a bit fatter than I wanted, but we're gonna roll with it. It's pretty thick. You could use a lot less fondant. So what I'm doing is kind of pushing it down to the edge here, the base, and then we'll pull some of that off. Now, I do think you might lose some of your detailing down here just because those are really fine little feathers. Just make sure you got all your edges smooth. And what I'm going to do is set him on a pan and roll the mold off of him. Let me just close up the fondant. I'm gonna get a pan here and put just a piece of paper towel on just for now. I usually use wax paper, but I didn't bring it over with me. So normally with the smaller ones, you would pop it and bring it out. But with him, I'm gonna set him down and I'm gonna roll off the thicker edge first, okay? Now think about what you could do with this. Can you see the edge of that? These would be so cute if you just make a plain white cake for a birthday or anything, and then, are you catching this as I roll it? The head's gonna be a little bit more fragile. Look at that. Now we're just gonna clean it up, and it's so easy to clean up because it's fondant. So again, you can use, I just come in with a knife or my fingers and I kind of cut the extra off. Okay, I probably won't do the whole thing on camera, but then you pick it up and just pat it so you get that nice smooth edge right there. Let me finish the head and then I'll see if you guys have any questions. So the fondant takes about a day or so to dry. You have lots of playtime, and this would be so cute wrapped up the side and to the top of a cake. Don't you think so? And again, I'm just gonna lift the head up and use my finger. Your nails work really well for pushing those raw edges to the back and kind of smoothing that neck out right there. They sell fondant tools for doing this, but you know, I'm using what I have. Look how cute that is already. And listen, I am not a fondant expert, and I have done candy melts, but you know, pretty amateur. And it's just, these are fun ideas to pull your molds out, use them for something really cute. And I don't think your family will mind because they're edible. So kind of have to ask Adrienne. How did yours go, Adrienne? She used something really unique in her molds this week. I've done butter molds. They work best if you let your butter sit out and get soft on the counter. Don't push it in the microwave or it won't work. It separates. And then I froze them. And then I popped them out and used them for Thanksgiving last year. They were very elegant, let's put it that way. I think I used this, now I used some flowers. they were really, really sweet. So you kind of get the idea. I'm just coming in here, removing the excess, making sure it looks super cute. I went over a little bit right here. I won't do it all, but you get the idea, right? Fondant, it's super fun to play with. It's like Play-Doh for adults. And then you can put these, I mean, the large ones are, the use is a little bit more limited, but you saw some of the smaller ones, how cute they are. Let me pop some of those out. I mean, super cute. All right, those are all fondant. And they're so fun to make. Okay, yeah. What's the weirdest thing you've ever put in your molds? Let us know. I'm just gonna show you. Actually, this one's fondant too. So you kind of can compare the two peacocks side by side. Feathers are super easy to do. I would say the fondant is the easiest because it's like Play-Doh. The candy melts are way more detailed. And again, if you get like a squeezy bottle that is microwave proof, it's so easy to do these details. Look at that. All right, so just a quick review. These are candy melts, and I put them in some of the smaller molds, some of these knob molds, and then I used some from our paper collection. All right, this one I think we did as well, so we can pop that one out. That was just sitting here drying while we worked on the class. See the detail on that? And then I have a whole tray. These are the ones we popped out during the show. And tons and tons and tons I did over the weekend that are just so fun to do. Okay, so try any of your molds that you have and try the candy melts. The other thing we used was a fondant, which you can get. There's tons of brands. Just find one that is softer. And this one worked really well. Gave me 4 different colors. And what we did is popped them into all kinds of different molds. And we even did some bigger designs with the peacock and the mermaid. All right, I will check the chat later. If you have questions, I'll go in and try to answer. Would love it if you guys would share some projects that you've made this week or last week with our molds, so that we can see what you've been up to and what you've been playing with. Let me just drop the camera down. So, whoops, I can get some detail on this now. Jello will not work. You need a really deep mold for it because it's very fragile as a substance. But definitely try the candy melts and definitely try fondant. Cream cheese mints work if you don't have either of those. You can find a recipe for cream cheese mints and they're so easy. It's basically powdered sugar, cream cheese, and you roll it in sugar and then press it in your mold. All right, guys, I hope you liked the show today. We will be coming with more Facebook Lives, probably more furniture related later in the week. So keep checking back from our amazing team as they're really trying to bring you guys different ideas as we're all stuck at home. So this is Sharon. I'm ReDesign at Home today, and I really, really want to thank you for popping in. Bye-bye.